time entry review. So next up, we're going to go ahead and review the time before the payroll is actually processed. So to do that, we're going to go into Payroll, and we're going to go back into time entry, and we're going to run a time entry audit report. So I'm going to press the time entry audit report button. We're then prompted for our corporation and our store. If you want to run it over multiple stores or the range of stores, you can do so here. In this case, we're going to run just store 421. The next option is your sorting option, whether you want to run it based on home store or store worked. Again, if you're running it for just a single store, you'll want to pick home store. If you pick store worked, you won't get all the information because we're only picking one store here. The next thing we can do is we can run the report with regular checks and second checks, such as bonus checks or vacation checks, or we can run for regular time only. In this case, I'm going to leave the regular and second check prompt listed. So I'm going to go ahead and press enter and click OK. And now the report is processed. I'm going to hop over to the portal, and then there's our report at the top. The latest report will always display at the top. If I press enter on that, click on that report, the first page of the report is blank, so if I scroll down, you can see now it physically lists the individual. So in this case, here's store 421, lists all the individual time for store 21, in addition to the totals for 421. So you can then go down and check this. You can check this report against your time clocks. You can just view this report to make sure everything is accurate, and then look down at your totals. At this point, you can also use your browser to go ahead and print this report, save this report, email this report. So that's the time entry audit report itself. There are a couple other ways to check the time in the system once it's entered. So we go back over to the FMS application. In this case, I'm going to go back into the time entry screen. And down here at the bottom, there's something called totals. If I click on that totals button, I can then pick the store that I want to check the totals for and hit select. And then it displays all the different earnings codes, the hours for those earnings codes, and the amounts for those earnings codes. So if I have a timesheet in which I've added up the hours and the different types, I can check these hours against that timesheet. If I ran a time entry audit out of my time clock, I can then check these grand totals against that report as well to ensure that everyone was paid accurately. I'm going to go back. There's another method in which you can check your time as well. You can scroll through on your screen all the individual employees. To do that, we're going to use the same method as we did to add the employees in. We're going to go ahead and select add. I'm going to key in the corporation 420, store 421, and press enter. Click OK at the confirmation prompt. It then is going to display all the employees as I go through. So if I find someone that is wrong, I can make a change and fix it right on the spot. So I can either come up here and just click the next, and it's feeding me through the employees. And again, I can check the hours on the screen against my timesheets, time cards, or time clock report. I'm just clicking next, scrolling through. I can also use, again, the F2 on my keyboard to scroll through and check all that time. So as I go through, you can see it goes through each individual employee, and then it comes up with the employees that have no time at all, and I can scroll through. If I did find someone that needed some time or make a correction, I can do that. So I'll go ahead and return and go back in. So I'll key in the corporation and the store again. So let's just say I'm going through, and for some reason, Brendan here, the overtime was incorrect. I can then highlight the overtime row, click on the hours, and it was 9 hours instead of 8. One important thing to do if you change any of these hours in the system is to come over to the rate and the amount and delete what's already in there and press enter, so the system will recalculate it. A common mistake is if you go in and you change the hours and just press enter, you'll notice you're giving a warning down the bottom that the hours times the rate does not equal the amount. So in that case, I have to come back up here and delete the rate and the amount, hit enter. The system will automatically recalculate it. I can then hit the next button to move on to the next employee, so on and so forth. So that is the checking of the time prior to the processing of the payroll.